Okay, so I think we are going to get started now. Um, welcome everybody. Welcome to our second edition of Fuckup Nights Quarantine. My name is Anna. I, along with my partner here at Fuckup Nights Hamilton, Donna, and we've also partnered with Fuckup Nights Mississauga. So we have Diane and Carmela, who are our other hosts. So there they are. We welcome you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have an awesome Fuckup Nights planned for you tonight. So get into it here. Close all my chats. There we go. Sorry. Tonight we are going to be acknowledging the hospitality industry. Obviously, hospitality industry has been going through a little bit of a tough time now since quarantine, which is awful, but starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel finally, which is great. And we have some really outstanding speakers for you. So again, my name is Anna. I, along with Donna, are the Fuck Reppers for Fuckup Nights Hamilton, and we have joined with Diane and Carmela from Fuckup Nights Mississauga to bring you this special quarantine edition. Fuckup Nights is completely organically grown, so there's no paid advertising or marketing that goes into it. So we encourage you to share your own fuck-ups if you like with us directly. You can reach us at Fuckup Nights Hammond or fuckupnights.mississauga. You can see us on Facebook, and we also have YouTube channel, which you're going to see in a few moments here.
If you guys are here with us right now, but you need to hop off a little bit early, that's no problem. So you guys can catch this event or any of our previous events on our YouTube channels. So follow Fuckup Nights Hamilton, and Fuckup Nights Mississauga on YouTube.
Sorry.
So tonight we have three awesome speakers coming from the hospitality industry. We're so excited to have them here, and they have graciously decided to share their personal, unique stories of failure with us all today. Big shout out to our sponsors. Without them, today would not be possible. So big thank you to Forward Events and Design, the Casbah, and Chronicle Photo Booth. So Chronicle Photo Booth has created a virtual photo booth for all of us today. If you guys haven't already, scan the QR code, which will take you to the virtual photo booth where you guys can snap a picture or create a GIF. Don't forget to share it and tag us on all your social media.
So what is Fuckup Nights? This is what companies want to project or think their image is versus the reality, which is what happens backstage or when they mess up in public. Reality is what we focus on. Fuckup Nights has created a worldwide movement and community that shares stories of business and professional failure. It all started one night on a Friday in 2012 in Mexico City. After several shots of mezcal, the friends decided they had heard enough about success and each decided to share a story about their failed projects. The conversation was so inspiring that they decided to do it again, but with even more friends. 2 weeks later, they did it again. The 5 friends all invited their friends, and they asked 3 people to share their biggest failures. That was the first Fuckup Night. Sharing stories of failure was liberating. It was fun and authentic, so the friends decided to keep it going and organize Fuckup Nights once a month. Turns out, people all over the world want to bring Fuckup Nights to their city, so the 5 friends decided to take their project seriously and set a goal to bring Fuckup Nights to the world. Today, Fuckup Nights is the most active creators movement on the planet. Each month, more than 10,000 people worldwide make time to go to Fuckup Nights and listen to 3 people publicly share their failures.
Fuckup Nights has worked with some of the biggest and best companies in the world. So please feel free to reach out to the Hamilton team or the Mississauga team to find out how we can bring Fuckup Nights to your company, conference, or school. So after each speaker, we're going to have a short Q&A. So we encourage you to use the Q&A feature at the bottom to submit any of your questions. And then we also have the chat feature, which is great for you to share your thoughts throughout. We've been using that to say hi. So we encourage you to use both of these heavily throughout. We want to hear from you.
Awesome. So our first speaker of the night is Dana Miele. She is a chef, writer, and entrepreneur. She has worked at some of Canada's best restaurants and survived to talk about it. So without further ado, I hand it over to Dana.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of context, obviously, until I get to the climax of the biggest fuck up of my life. We'll start at 13, but I'll try to make it short. I was diagnosed with a chronic insomnia, and it was, not sleeping for 3 days and then crashing for 1. So I was eventually given prescribed a medication to help me sleep. This medication is no longer prescribed to young adults because it is extremely addictive. I'd realized that from the medication, it had the adverse reaction, that it would keep me up and it would keep me alert. So it helped me be efficient. And 7 years later, I am now into being a highly effective and efficient addict. Now we're at 21 years old, and it wasn't me driving into a house or the blood pooling behind my eyes that had me stop trying to do this pill that I had, manipulated in many situations to get more of as the years went by. It was that I'd realized that anything I had to feel good about was empty, because anyone who ever laughed at any joke or liked me, it wasn't real, because you didn't actually like me, or anything I had done was not actually successful because it was fueled by this pill. And this pill made me shameless and curious, and it didn't have me with the fear of missing out, as most teenagers do. So I thought that it was a beautiful thing to have, and I justified taking it for 7 years because I felt like it was helpful. But when I felt like empty in my successes, I decided it was probably a good time to try to stop. So I decided to go to Thailand, which probably in retrospect is not the best place to try to get sober. So 3 days into Bangkok, I decided to go north. And the more north I went, the harder it is in that country. The food is spicier, the people are harder working, and the people are, in poverty. There was a family that I still don't understand why they really had taken me in for this, but they let me sleep on their convenience store floor. In North Thailand, when you have a place of business, you don't just do one thing. You're not a gas station only, you're a gas station, you have a convenience store, you do laundry, you sell food. You do everything you possibly can to get through it, especially if you are a farmer in North Thailand. So they let me sleep on their convenience store floor, but I had to contribute to the family unit. And by doing that, I would have to go and forage. I had no idea what I was doing. I was, insecure with good reason. The children around me in this family unit, they were learning to grow and pick rice as they're schooling, and everyone really, that's their upbringing, they know what's going on. So we go foraging and I don't find anything, and it's not just me feeling defeated and insecure with my own personal issues. It's valid. These people who have helped me and let me stay on their convenience store floor for free were also disappointed that I wasn't contributing. Just as we were about to leave, I see this mushroom that I thought I saw in one of the children's textbooks, and it was a beautiful yellow mushroom. Now this mushroom, once you find it, you're going to find other mushrooms. And when I realized that I could help this family feed for not only one meal, but for 2, and then go on to the next day, it was one of the first times that I had felt that I had done something as a sober person that made me feel good about it, and it was legitimate at this point. I could find something, I could cook it, and I could give it to someone. And that was my way of telling people thank you. And that was a pivotal moment in my life that I realized that creating something with my hands and giving it to someone was going to be my love language, and I was going to get addicted to that. So 4 months later, I'm back in Ontario. I go to school for journalism, which possibly could be another fuck up, but because philosophy, I mean, I did philosophy and journalism. That's like, no one goes to school for that anymore. They don't even have the program anymore, actually. It was print journalism. People didn't even read newspapers. I was always cooking throughout that time, and I started to get really into being able to cook for people and have that instant gratification. That was my new drug. And the good thing about being over my addictions by going into a kitchen, I was never interested in cocaine or getting really drunk. I just got addicted to the work. And this helped me move pretty quickly and pretty high up in a shorter amount of time than most people would do in this industry. I was told at this place that it would be hard. And with my experience at the time, it was, knowing now that it wasn't. But this restaurant closed, as many restaurants do. I'm not sure if you guys know about what a midnight run is, but it's when the restaurant basically goes under and people come in and they take all the equipment out and they try to sell it on the black market. I was in the parking lot while these guys were trying to take all the equipment out and sell it. At this point, it's bounce paychecks, it's rumors, it's bullshit. And, I'm there trying to grab my friends' knives out of the trucks and screaming at these guys, trying to, figure out what's going on with this. I meet up with my team a few days later, and everyone is extremely heartbroken about the restaurant closing. It was a beautiful restaurant that, we changed the menu every 2 weeks. We had a core menu. It's a restaurant that wasn't meant to be. It was as if it was a dream. It was so beautiful. And most of these people decided they were not going to be in the industry anymore. And at that moment, I decided not only am I going to be in this industry, but I'm going to become a chef, and I'm going to open a restaurant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my 20s with my head down, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to earn everything that it takes to be a chef that I admire. So I am never going to work at a restaurant that is not as good as the one that I had previously been at. So at that time in this area, in Burlington, there was only one restaurant that had some infamy. And I knew that if I put that restaurant on my resume, that I would no longer have any trouble getting a job at any restaurant outside of Toronto for the rest of my life. I got a job at that restaurant. I thought that the restaurant before was hard. This one was much harder. I worked myself to a bone. It was day rate. You have to go in and stage and work for free as a tryout. I'm not sure if you guys know what a stage is, but essentially you go in, you work for free, you see if you guys all like each other, because when you spend that amount of time with people, you need to figure out if you like each other and if you can make each other laugh and if you really can get through the day. So I worked myself to the bone at this place, and the food was beautiful. It was rough, and I ended up leaving that place throwing up blood from the stress and bursting every blood vessel in my face from petechia bruising. And he was a good man who knew that I could no longer come back. I mean, that day that I left, I had, been so sick with the stress. I cleaned up the blood and I got back on the line. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, we got to cook." And he said, "No, I think it's time for you to go." So I left. And he wanted me to take a break and figure it out. And that was the first time I didn't take advice from a man smarter than me. I took a break for a few days. And then, as my rule that I made 3 years prior, that I didn't want to go to a restaurant that I thought was not as good as the one before, I moved forward and found a place that was a 12-seater in Hamilton. It was beautiful. It was Nordic. It was everything that I wanted in food at that time. He did not need me. But I convinced him that he did, just like I convinced all these doctors that I needed this medication or to get more, or all of this stuff that I had learned to manipulate people. And it was not something that I'm definitely proud of, but I wanted this fucking job and I got it. And, 4 or 5 months later, he realized that he didn't need me because he never did. But what he decided to do was try to get me into a restaurant in Toronto, which was one of the top restaurants in the country. And to explain what it means to get a stage or an opportunity at one of the best restaurants in the country, it's kind of like when people are fans of celebrities or rappers. There are cooks who wear t-shirts of chefs' restaurants in Montreal who work in Toronto. We are fans of each other's work, and we are only 6 hours away, and it's possible to work for your hero. These people were my hero. So I got the opportunity. And to stage in one of these places is extremely competitive. What you're doing essentially in a small team like this is you're coming in to work for free, and you are competing for the other person's job who is working for very little money. And you're essentially doing your best to try to prove that you're better than them. Luckily, got the job. But I don't know if I get any of these jobs because I am a good cook. I think I'm getting these jobs because I can make these people laugh. And I do believe that in a very stressful situation, I'm always going to crack a joke. And a lot of people are extremely nervous. But I learned not to be nervous. Through taking medication and being addicted to pills for those 7 years, I kind of lost my sense of embarrassment, and it's helped me here. And I've taken that for, I've used it to my full advantage. Now it's this place where I have thought that every place before it was hard, and then every place gets harder and harder. And that was the plan. But I worked myself to a point where my back started really hurting. And I had injured it in Thailand, but ignored it. And then I had fallen here and ignored it. And then I got a crazy lung infection and I couldn't breathe. And, I was doing everything I could, and it was just so bloody intense. I had one pillow and one bowl and one spoon, and I was eating my cereal every day. And the only thing I did was come home and sleep and sharpen my knives. And I didn't talk to anyone. Over that time, I decided in my 20s, I'm 29 now, but I decided that I wasn't able to handle any type of emotions from other people because it would affect my work for that day. So I just cut everybody out. And just like many cooks, like you miss family gatherings, and it's an extremely lonely thing to try to be the best at what you're doing in a very short amount of time. And people don't tell you that. So my back was hurting, and I had a lung infection, and I was walking around in half, and I was screaming just to try to say hello. And in these situations, even if you're not around for a very long time, but you spend that amount of time with people, 16, sometimes 21 hours a day with no exaggeration, truly, they become your family because they're the only ones that you bother talking to. The chef had sat me down, and he said, I can't even look you in the eye, because him and I at this point were very close. And he said, are you going to look back on your life and think, I am so happy that I worked myself sick at this restaurant? Or are you going to be looking back on your life and realize that, you took care of yourself and you respected your passion properly? Now, this is the second time that a man smarter than me, that I respect and is my hero, is telling me that I need to stop working so fucking hard. And I ignore him. I'm very upset. I walk home to Parkdale, where all the broke cooks live in Toronto. And by the time I got home, so stubborn, the way that I am, the way that I was, I had found a job cooking at one of the busiest restaurants in Toronto. Now, this is my rationalization. It's burgers. It's not fine dining. It can't be so hard. You only have to be there at 2 o'clock. It's fine. I have all this time to try to get better and rest, and then I can work at this restaurant. That's not what happened. The injury gets worse. I started taking painkillers to try to get over it. I grab a cane to work and try to walk the entire morning that it would take me to get to work was about 6 hours, because I would get up in the morning and I, could barely take a shower or prepare myself a bowl of cereal. And I just kept on going, because really the whole thing is, don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror without falling over in pain. It just got to a point where eventually I had 2 days off. I went to bed, and then I couldn't get up again. Also at this time, I decided to start a hot sauce company, because it's not fine dining. I have more time, and so eventually went to bed, couldn't get up. It was pretty scary, because I reached for my computer and the computer fell and the screen broke. I reached for my phone and it was out of the way. And 2 days later, someone who loves me very much found out that I couldn't move, and they showed up to my apartment and they helped me out. But at this point, it was time to give up. It was time to move home. It was time to move home with the people that I had ignored truly and isolated myself from for really 6 years, because I had this dream of feeling this passion of helping other people, giving my love to other people. But really, it's a very selfish thing. It's how you feel about giving your help to other people. And so then, I tried to do everything I could to get out of this chronic pain. I was in chronic pain for about 1.5 years. Doctors told me that I probably wouldn't be able to cook again, that the surgery that I needed to have of, just like 2 herniated discs, I couldn't feel my legs anymore, that it was unlikely that I was ever going to be a chef, and especially not be able to run a kitchen, especially in a restaurant. Cold laser therapy, physio, you name it, I did it. And then I met these people who, because I made them laugh, even though I was in chronic pain, they said, if you try to do this one way through Mackenzie method and cold laser therapy, and you lose 60 pounds, then you have a chance of being a chef one day and doing what you love without being in pain. So I did all those things. I started being able to walk. I lost the 60 pounds. I am no longer in chronic pain. I have learned that my identity is not lukewarm tweezer food. It is hospitality. It is making something with my hands and giving it to people, just like it was 9 years ago when I was in Thailand and I found those mushrooms. And at that time, my sister had a baby, and I would have never been able to spend my time with my niece like I did. And I was, on my back for most of it, but I would have never been able to do that. So now I am in a kitchen. I'm currently, I was working today. I'm about to go down there and work again. And I got to realize what's really important is family. And now I work in this beautiful kitchen, and I don't care that it's fried chicken or whatever it's going to be. It's about people doing what they love. And that's my time.
Awesome. Oh, I'm the only one that unmuted myself. That was awesome, Dana. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we are going to move to the Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section, and then we can ask Dana. You're also welcome to reach out to Dana directly. So if you want, you can reach out to us, and then we can put you in touch with her directly as well, and you can ask her any questions that you might have. I'm just going to take a look here at the chat. So Carmela's put Dana's handle, social media handle in the chat, so you're welcome to connect with her as well. Got a lot of nice compliments here. Amazing story, beautiful story, Dana. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That was very moving. I'm sure also super relatable. Being an entrepreneur, I feel like we're constantly working ourselves to the bone. I'm just gonna see. Yeah, so we have a question from Ashley. She wants to know, is the dream still to open your own restaurant someday?
Absolutely. I'm hoping anytime within the next 2 years, I would love to open a restaurant in Hamilton. I've spent this time in COVID writing menus and narrowing down what I really want. So just trying to move forward and see what the future holds for the hospitality industry.
Yeah, Tash said it reminded me of how difficult a time she had working at a restaurant. It is such incredibly hard work.
It can be. But also I like to be, put myself in perspective, keep it in perspective, because my brother is an ACP paramedic and works downtown Toronto. So there's many times where we lived with my parents when I was first starting out, and so was he. And he would come home, and I was about to complain, but then I fucking didn't.
LA has a question. What do you think Hamilton's missing in terms of food?
French, Canadian, Montreal inspired wine bars, possibly. That's what I want to do.
Very particular.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dana. Thank you again for sharing your story. And oh wait, we just have one more. Okay, wait, we have two more, just because they're good ones. So, what's a dish that you're stoked to put on the menu at your restaurant?
Oh, I'm really into anything bone marrow and some really beautiful bread. Quite honestly, it's quite simple like that. I am really also into highlighting local beekeepers, so honey will be very involved.
Cool. And last question, what's your fave spot in Montreal?
Ooh, Le Vin Mon Lapin.
That sounds super fancy.
It's not.
Skill Pub?
Okay, awesome. Thank you again. Thank you so much to Dana. And if you like, just check out the chat and you'll be able to see her handle and you can connect with her directly.
All right, dope. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Okay, so up next, our second speaker is a good friend of mine. Her name is Michelle Pablos, and she is the owner and operator of Faux 88 Restaurant. She has been in the food industry for 15 years, and she has successfully opened 5 restaurants during her time. She's also been a big staple at the Canadian National Exhibition, where she has operated a stall there for the last 12 years. Michelle, slides are all yours.
All right. So thank you, Diane, for introducing me. I think she kind of covered who I am. So yes, my name is Michelle Pablos, and I am the owner and operator of the Faux 88 restaurant. All right. So presently right now we have 3 locations. This is the location that I work out of. It's my Bloor Street location. It's at 594 Bloor Street West, which is about Bathurst and Bloor. Currently right now we only have 3 locations, and one is at Yonge and Sheppard and one is at Don Mills in Eglinton. So I've been a vendor at the CNE now for 12 years. The pic you see here is what my booth looked like when I first took it over. Everything was exactly as it was. I just put up the menu signs and this sign here on top. So you see on the right-hand side, you can see what the, you can see what the booth looks right now. It is, let's get that. Oh. Technical difficulty.
Do you want me to go back for you?
Yes, please. That would be great.
There you go.
Okay, so perfect. So, on the right is what we look like today. We renovated the booth probably about 5 years ago. So, my background was never in restaurant. I actually worked for 10 years in the retail industry. I did retail management. I worked for a company called G Machine, and I was there for 10 years. And I think that it was probably in 2005 when my father-in-law approached me and scouted me to take over his restaurant. The restaurant was in Mississauga. It was 888 Dundas Street East. My father-in-law was part of a chain. This was a location that he just wanted to retire, and he wanted someone to take it over, and he thought that, I could do something special with it. So, I looked at his numbers, and, the food was amazing, and I knew that the place had potential. So I thought, first things first, I wanted to shorten the menu. I felt like there was too much on the menu. And then I just changed the decor, hired some fresh faces, and it was an instant hit. I think it was only 2 months later, his mother-in-law decided that, or my mother-in-law decided she wanted to retire too. And she gave me the best location in the whole entire business, which was Spadina and Dundas. So I took over Spadina, and it was an instant hit as well. We had a lot of traffic down there. I think within 2 years, we opened 2 more locations, one at Yonge and Sheppard and one at on Finch. They were all pretty successful. The food building. I have a love and hate with this building. Anyway, I think it was in 2008, the first time I ever walked into this building. You know, we were dealing with a very limited space. Strategy was everything. And we have a pretty extensive menu in our restaurant. So we had to, you know, figure out a good menu that would be good for the fair. And I remember, you know, being excited and scared and thinking, I didn't really know what to expect. And on opening day, I was just blown away. Like the fast pace, the hustle, the chaos that is the food building, I fell in love instantly. Like, you have to know, like 2 million people go through this building every year. In 18 days, it's quite busy. And I feel like it's like the #1 destination in the CNE. Like anyone who goes to the CNE goes into this building to eat. There's over 300 vendors in this building. You know, it's a place with absolutely no AC. The days are very long. I mean, my days were 14-hour days. We would wake up very early, travel into the restaurant, pick up the pho, because I sell pho, and we'd have to travel that. It would have to be made at our restaurant, put into these special barrels, and traveled into the CNE. My day would start at 8 in the morning, and it wouldn't finish till midnight. And we would do this for 18 days straight. And I mean, it was grueling because it would be not 18 days, but maybe 25 or 30 days, because you have to consider the setup. You know, we bring everything in and we set up the booth every year, and then we tear it down and clean it properly. So it was tough, but it was exciting. And, you know, the competition in there is absolutely fierce. So after 3 successful years at the CNE with my Pho 88 booth, me and my partner decided that we wanted a second booth. We wanted to submit a proposal for a second booth. We had noticed that a lot of the vendors at the CNE, the veterans, the ones that had been there for a really long time, they had multiple locations. Some of them even had locations at every door, like in every corner of the building. So we wanted to maximize on our 18 days that we were in the fair. And so we submitted a proposal to the CNE for an apple fritter booth. The CNE loved it. They loved our proposal, and they gave us a location. So there were 2 pros and cons to this location. The pro was that it was right next door to my Pho. And that was great because it made it easy for me to manage. And then there was a couple cons. The first con was that this location had no hood vent. It had no, so I had to hire, or I had to order and rent an ecologizer, which brought up the cost of my rent and my costs overall. The other bad part was that at this time in 2011, there was nothing really important in this corner of the building. And it wasn't really like a destination spot or a high traffic area. So we went forward with the whole thing. I spent months researching, developing a recipe. I'm not really into baking. I'm more of into cooking. So this was very new to me. You know, to design this sign, we ran a contest, and you know, the sign was very expensive. I did give myself a very reasonable budget, I feel. But you know, in the end, it didn't really work out. So I have to say, I probably knew right in the first weekend that I was not going to make money at this booth. I could see just from the numbers that everything was, you know, not working out the way I wanted to. the rent is very expensive in this building, and if you're not meeting a certain quota, it's absolutely impossible for you to make money here. Like I said before, there are over 300 vendors in the building, which means, the competition is fierce. And, for everyone that's making a lot of money, there are people losing money as well. And so we decided that, when the year ended and we didn't do well, 2012 came about. And my business partner and I had decided that we had invested $30,000 in this business and that we were going to try again. So we came up with ideas to make the booth better, and we came up with a baked apple fritter idea that we thought was going to work, and it was an epic fail. Like, it was even worse. So every day I would go into the C&E, and I just remember how brokenhearted I was, because I remember how the year before I had done really well with my Faux 88 booth, but I had lost so much money at my apple fritter booth that in the end I didn't really make any money for all that hard work that I had put in for 18 days. And I could see that the same thing was going to happen. So it was really heartbreaking, and it was hard to finish off that year. And, one major lesson that I learned is that, I should have never, with the numbers that I had the first year, tried to attempt to do it again. And, I learned a valuable lesson there that when you lose, just take your loss and run. And, there was other things that, the fact that my price point wasn't at least $10, like the rent and the square footage of my space, I had to at least make a $10 price point. I had to have an item that was like, could create a buzz. I had to have something that possibly was more food. I felt like dessert was wrong in the food building. People tend to eat dessert on the midway. So I learned some valuable lessons there. So budget. I feel like my budget was really good, but I still spent $5,000 on a sign. I didn't mention this earlier, but we had bought this antique apple peeler that my partner had driven to the States to pick up. It was like a feature piece that was supposed to be a feature in the business. And I feel that we paid $2,200 for this piece. I paid a lot for my counter, and I had noticed that other vendors had gone in there after us and kind of spent less money, but actually made money from the booth. So you learn some valuable things, definitely. In 2013, I decided to focus more on my Faux 88 booth. We originally went into the C&E because we wanted to promote our family-run business outside the C&E. So I just added new menu items like the banh mi, and they were an instant success. I mean, ultimately, what we want to do is get on this media day. The media day is a huge day. They, give you tons of promotion. And finally, in 2013, I had created this Vietnamese burrito that was wrapped in rice paper, and it had like a deep fried spring roll inside. And I finally made it onto the media day, and it was our most successful year yet. So would I ever do a second booth at the C&E? Absolutely. But I'm going to take everything that I learned and make sure that, I picked the right item this time. And that's about it.
Awesome. Good job. Very good.
Thank you so much, Michelle. The C&E is actually where Diane and I met Michelle, and we instantly fell in love with her, and I'm sure you guys can see why. Her energy is amazing, and Michelle is just such a kind and just amazing person overall. Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your story. Everyone has been sending in like such nice messages. A couple people here we know that have worked with us at the C&E, so a lot of emojis, a lot of emotions going on because we know what you're talking about.
It's grueling. I mean, anyone who knows, like, I have to say, like, even getting this booth together, it was just like, you just never understand like how much work goes into it. So when you're doing two booths, and I mean, you guys can understand because you guys are in there doing tons of booths, it's like, now you need, to hire two types of staffs, and now you need, two schedules, and now you need, and it's just like, it's crazy. I remember like driving down the street and having to pull over because I was having an anxiety attack, and like, you know, the hours, and then there's the good side, the positive side, the wonderful people that you meet and everything that you learn, and this amazing experience. And I love the competition. So there's lots of things that I love about that building, but like I said, it's a love-hate relationship for sure.
When you posted that picture of the Vietnamese burrito that you made with the deep fried spring roll in the middle, a lot of people were commenting that it looked bomb, it looked amazing, looks delish, drooling. So
at our location on Bloor Street.
I was going to ask on their behalf, are you going to bring that back to the CNE? Maybe
I will. Absolutely. I never take things away from my menu, but people have to understand how hard it really is. Like, you know, I'm not just running a Vietnamese restaurant, but I'm a white girl running a Vietnamese restaurant. It's harder because people don't think it's authentic. So it was so hard for me. It wasn't easy. And you guys know, I used to stand at the front of the cash and as much money as I can from every single person that comes in my line, because I mean, it's just so tough in there. And you know what? My determination and my love for the business, you know, it persevered.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle's out there at the front smiling and hustling and bringing everyone.
I am very much an owner-operator.
Absolutely.
Operator, yes. Like I have my hands in everything, because I feel when it comes in the food industry, and I remember hearing some of the other people talk about this, it's like when you're not there, then it's just not the same.
Yeah. Well, Mish, I have a question for you. I mean, I work with you at the CNE, so I understand the struggle. I just want to know a little bit more about the moment where I guess you were about to go into your second year. So you had kind of fucked up that first year, and now you're debating, like, should I, shouldn't I? Can you, like,
this is how it is. It's like you invest all this money.
Yeah.
In my heart, I knew that my numbers were so low. And at the same time, you don't want to give up. Like, you want to push. You want to see if maybe you can do better. So, you know, we came up with this idea of the apple dumpling. We knew that it was a hit at the Royal Winter Fair. We try to hit up everything and do as much research as we can. And we thought that it would work. But in my heart, I knew, like, I couldn't sell $20,000 with, you know, and I just walked away. You know, and I decided not to. And you know what? I learned my lesson. You have to trust your instinct. Yes, believe in yourself, but trust your instinct.
So, follow-up question: would you open up another second booth?
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely would. And you know, we're always trying to come up with ideas and looking for different spots. And I have been offered some spots. They just don't have a hood. And I really want to do something food, so it hasn't worked out yet, but yes, I will. And I have no intentions of leaving the food building. I know it's a lot of work, but I love the challenge and I love the people.
Well said. Like a true entrepreneur, I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Michelle. If you guys have any other questions, please connect with Michelle on Instagram. We'll drop her handle in the chat there, and let's keep this party going. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Awesome. So back to Hamilton. Last but certainly not least, we have Executive Chef Matt Kershaw and CEO Erin Dunham, who are the owners of the Other Bird Restaurant Group, where they offer a top-tier food experience, unique fare, and charming hospitality. So take it away, guys.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good evening. Thank you for having us. Yeah, that's a picture of us. I don't know why my mouth's open, and Erin doesn't normally look that good.
What?
It's true.
Let's move on. Get to the story.
So yeah, we've been open for about 10 years now. We've opened and closed, I don't know, almost a dozen places now.
Yeah.
It seems like, probably actually. And unfortunately for us, we started off really well. We opened something 10 years ago called the Alex, or I did, where I met Erin. And it did very well after the first few months. And then we did Rapscallion, which was something we weren't sure about was going to work in Hamilton, and luckily it did. And so now we've had 1-2 successes, and then we open up
Owner-operator successes.
Owner-operator. This is key later on.
This is
we didn't realize there was a difference.
When we opened a second restaurant, then he was in one and I was at the other.
Yeah. And then when Two Black Sheep came along, again, this was a really fast, really great success. And we're able to kind of sort of be in 3 places at once with the 2 of us. And, we're kind of getting used to, relying on managers and trusting people. But it's a bad thing in a way to be successful 3 out of 3 times, because then you kind of think you can't do wrong. Is that about right?
As far as I'm concerned in this story, we can't do wrong.
This is true. We can't do wrong. So we're going to do right again on Ottawa streets. So Ottawa street's a street I fell in love with. I thought it was so cool. It is cool. And I really wanted to be there. I want to be in the East End. I think it's a cool, interesting place in Hamilton. And
I was less in love with it.
You were less in love.
I was.
You were less in love. But she's convincible. That's a word?
Yeah,
is that a word?
Sure.
And so after a few visits, after a few discussions, and after reminding how great we are.
Yeah, just hold on. I also would like to talk about Matthew Kershaw's version of market research. Market research is sitting on a bench outside of a place and just watching people walk by for 3 hours on any given day to see like what kind of people hang out on a street, which is legitimate.
It's legit.
If you're opening a store that's open 9 to 5 when you're sitting there, but not so much.
Yeah, it's not that legit.
Not so much when you are opening at night, but please.
So the interesting thing is, I was into Ottawa Street, and then finally Erin gets on Ottawa Street, or gets into the idea. And when Erin gets into the idea, she really gets into it. And then I step back, and she does the things, and stuff happens. And then we kind of decided that we really wanted it. We had to have it now, and we end up jamming a square peg into a round hole. We took a space that wasn't the right space, and we both quietly knew it, but we're excited. We were opening a new place, and we're going to be successful because that's what we do.
Can't wait to make all the money.
Yay! Like, yes. We were incorrect.
So
yeah.
It turns out the demographic when you sit on a bench and look at a place from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday and Saturday, is people who go shopping and go out on the town. But the demographic you need around a space when you open a bar are people who will walk there, and all of the demographic living around there were like 65-year-old Portuguese women. And
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But they don't drink at bars.
But they don't drink at bars, especially our bar. And also new families who would like move from Toronto to this area. And let me tell you something about people with a baby under 1. They don't go to bars.
No, they don't. They really don't.
No, it's not a thing.
So it wasn't a success.
Some might say it was a failure.
Yes. Another
Another aspect too was it was the first one that we opened that wasn't owner operated. So it kind of fell outside of our model once we got to 4 and 5 places, because we opened one and then opened a second one.
I was there for a lot when we opened, and then forgot about the other places.
But we opened 2 on Ottawa
Street.
So
our solution to having a failure on Ottawa Street was to double down.
Yeah, we thought we should definitely open a second place in the place where we're failing right next door, so that we can also compete with ourselves when we're failing.
For mostly a night business. It was not a great decision. In fact,
we drank a lot during that time. We actually can't be held accountable for our decisions.
It was really weird. Is if we'd done that place first, if we'd done Ottawa Street place first, neither of us would be sitting here right now at all.
No.
I'd be working at whatever restaurant.
If we had opened that place downtown, there's so many things.
Yeah. There's
so many epic failures in that one failure. I mean, we could probably talk about it for a long time, but we can't, because they yell at us if we go over. So, but there's a good news story that comes out of this epic failure of ours. Number 1, we were humbled, and we started doing more research and things like research and business planning, which I think was a positive thing.
Yes, this is where Erin really became a CEO.
Yeah, I really crushed it after that with my MBA, which I didn't think to use before that point, but then definitely started after that. So Mark was a chef who worked with us, and he wanted always to own his own restaurant and to open his own place. So he actually for a pittance of what we're asking for, because we love him and he's fabulous, he opened his own place.
So he took
Ottawa
over
Street.
The existing snack bar on Ottawa Street.
Look at his handsome mug.
That's handsome Mark. And it was great. We learned, it was an owner-operator place. It was a place that could make money for the owner-operator. And Mark's actually doing better than we ever did, because he's there every day. He cares every day about every little thing, where we didn't have the time to. We had too many places to deal with. And so we figured out there was a difference.
Yeah. He's legit and fabulous. If you ever can go, you should. And he did a very similar concept to what we had done, except better. because he's better than us in every way. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost, I don't know. It depends how you define things. Erin thinks we lost about 75. I think a little more than, I think we lost over 100 grand.
Yeah, about 100.
Which is not fun.
Give or take $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And that hurts. Like, you know, a small business, that's a ton of money.
Just stopped paying it back this year.
Yes, we did.
So there's that.
So that was us. We were humbled. We learned a lot from it. We did continue to screw up after that, but in different ways.
I hope never to stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we get better.
We'll be back again on Fuckup Nights. Thank you.
Amazing. That was awesome. That was amazing.
We'll have you back for the next one. Don't worry. Okay, so we're gonna get to the Q&A section of your time here. Some more amazing comments coming in. Love that it stayed in the family, kind of. Failure sucks but instructs. Great story, beautiful ending, and a true stand-up duo, which we couldn't agree more. Thank you so much. This is a good one. You get better at fucking up. That's a great concept.
I assume that somebody who works with us said that because they know.
Okay, so we have a question coming in. What advice did you give to the guy who took over the restaurant?
That's hilarious. No, our advice was to do his food because it was fabulous, and we were always kind of squashing him a bit. And his food is amazing. He's a very good chef. Although I didn't say that because Kershaw is our executive chef, and I definitely love him too.
No tea, no shade.
Yeah.
There was actually a question that came in the Q&A section that I wanted to acknowledge because it's really good and very fitting for what's going on in the world right now. It says, if you could give one hope for what this pandemic will do for hospitality.
I definitely didn't hear a word you said.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
The computer vomited.
I'll repeat myself. They asked if you could give one hope for what this pandemic will do for hospitality.
That's interesting. Oh God.
Well, okay, I can answer that. Yeah. I think one thing we've learned and seen, we're lucky that we're 10 years old and we have had some success, and we're going to make it through this in some way or another. We're a lot of like new places or places that borrowed money, which isn't weird, are in a lot of trouble. This is really, really tough for them. And the fact that we try and put so much work, so many hours, so much money in risk to maybe make 5% is insane. And I think we really have to raise our prices a lot.
So I was going to say it, but I didn't think it was appropriate. But I completely agree.
I think the industry has to raise their prices. I mean, everyone's borrowing money, and I think we have to, as all of us, everyone has to stop racing to the bottom and trying to be cheap, the cheapest. And we have to the cooks should be paid more. Everyone should be paid more, and we shouldn't be shitting our pants that
if we have a bad week,
we had a bad time. Like, that shouldn't be the way.
Yeah. But also, I have a lot of business friends, and their margins are like 25 to 75%. And why are ours under 10? That's insane. Like, it's just garbage. And there's been this drive for cheap food, fast food.
And that's successful.
Yeah. And it's okay, I think, to be able to make money. We should stop feeling guilty about that. And maybe if we all join together and we're like, no, this is the cost of food now, because especially if we can't seat as many people in our restaurants or do what we could before, we're going to have to make adjustments and changes. And hopefully we can all do it together.
Yeah, it's like a form of self-love as an entrepreneur. You have to value yourself and then go out into the world and show your value and hope that people see it as well.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when it comes down to money.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, let's see. I think that's it for questions. But I've left your Instagram in the chat section. So if anyone has any other questions that they would like to ask, please feel free to do so. And make sure that you follow all of our speakers and show them some love. And don't forget to follow us too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. that was awesome. That was some very good advice as well. So this concludes our Fuckup Nights Quarantine edition for tonight. Thank you to all of our speakers for participating. It's without you, obviously, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you for having the courage to get up there and to discuss your failures in front of everyone. And thank you also to all the participants who were able to join us. Excuse me. And also thank you to our fellow fucker-uppers from Mississauga, Carmela and Diane. They were outstanding to work with, and it was so nice to meet you guys and be able to put this on with you guys.
Thank you.
Alexis and
Girl Squad.
Alexis is from Fuckup Nights, directly from Fuckup Nights, and he is our #1 supporter and helps us to put all of these on. So thank you so much for being there for us and making us feel comfortable during this. Don't forget to snap your pic before you go on our virtual photo booth, and be sure to subscribe to the Failure Institute for more on Fuckup Nights. We wish you all good health and safety, and we look forward to sharing more failure with you at our next virtual Fuckup Nights, which is going to be happening in June. So be sure to follow us so that you know when the next one is and you can register in advance. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye, guys. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much, guys.